Please join me in standing and pledging allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time I'll ask, are there any public comments on any of the agenda items? Okay, hearing none, we'll continue. We have a new board member to introduce to you today, I'm pleased to announce. And I will ask Mrs. Clare.
That's fine.
Thank you. Give introductions.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. I appreciate that. Today at the 9:30 Board of Supervisors meeting, Jim Bach, Dan Ouellette, and I voted unanimously to appoint Mr. Laith Wardy to the Millcreek Township General Authority. And it was done after an extensive review of citizens that came forward that were interested in serving our community and looking at the future of Millcreek Township. So we were very lucky to have so many qualified individuals come forward. And I think Laith Wardy, we all were so impressed with everything that he is going to be able to bring to this authority and to Millcreek Township. We're lucky to have his gifts here. I'd like to read a little something that just kind of gives our residents a little bit of information about Mr. Wardy's experience. Mr. Wardy received his Economic Development Certification through the International Economic Development Council in Washington, D.C. in 2002, where he is also a longtime instructor for the organization. During that time, he trained roughly 10,000 economic development professionals on best practices, business retention, and expansion strategies, tools, and tactics. In addition, he conducts 2 8-week online courses each year for Oklahoma University's Economic Development Institute. Mr. Wardy's locally based company provides customer relationship management and related technology and support to economic development, government, and allied professionals throughout the United States and Canada. He is a frequent speaker to economic development audiences in North America, as well as other speaking engagements in Europe. He provides state-level economic development certification training in Alabama, Arkansas, British Columbia, Louisiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee. Mr. Wardy, as vice chair for both the Tom Ridge Environmental Center and the Enterprise Development Center of Erie County, has served on economic development committees during the administrations of County Executives Shanker and Dahlkemper. Both he and his wife are longtime residents of Millcreek Township, where his wife also operates her successful dental practice. So he doesn't have a whole lot of knowledge, but we thought we'd give him a try. I'm just kidding, Mr. Wardy.
Thank you.
We are very lucky to have you as the newest member of the authority.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Clare, and welcome, Mr. Wardy.
I just want to make a couple brief comments. I'm going to do a lot more listening than talking, which is hard for me. I'm not going to talk a lot. I'm going to listen for the first few meetings and make sure I get my bearings. But I do want to mention, I do have a perspective nationally and internationally. What you guys are trying to achieve in the main corridor is arguably one of probably 3 of the most important projects in this entire part of Pennsylvania right now. These are transformational. I consider what's going on in downtown Erie, I consider the Bayfront highway rework that's being done in this project to really be cornerstone projects, not only in how we conduct business here, but how people from the outside look at our market and say, is this a place where I want to maybe invest or move or spend time? I think this is a huge project, and when I use the word thrilled, I'm thrilled to be involved in this authority.
Well, thank you, and we're very pleased to have you on board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Approval of minutes from the organizational meeting January 9th and the regular meeting on January 9th. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the organizational meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Olet and Mrs. Claire. The second, approval of minutes, the regular meeting minutes of January 9th. May I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Claire.
And I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Olet. Next, we have a resolution to approve. This is for a resolution of the Millcreek Township General Authority. It pertains to the...
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You need to ask for a vote for both of those motions.
I'm sorry?
You need to ask for a vote for both
I'm
those
sorry.
motions. You got a motion and a second. You
Oh.
need to do the vote.
Okay, sorry, thank you very much, Mr. Shaw. May I have an approval a vote? Mrs. Claire?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer? Must have stepped away. Thank you. Dave, can you hear us? Still on?
Yeah, let me recall him. I'm sorry.
Maybe he dropped?
Yeah, I think so.
We're really technologically savvy around here.
It's okay. It's hard. These are hard when you have people coming in from the outside.
Okay, let me put you back on speaker. Okay, Dave, you're back on.
Okay, I'm good, thanks.
Mr. Zimmer, how did you vote for the minutes from both?
I vote yes.
Thank you very much. Moving on, approval of bills. May I have a motion to approve the bills that were attached to the packet?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Olet. All those in favor, Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we do have a resolution to vote on. This resolution is of the Millcreek Township General Authority pertaining to the administration of the right to know law, to officially appoint certain individuals of open record officers. We would have Cheryl Williams as the officer with the backup of the treasurer, and for this open record officership for Millcreek. May I have a vote or a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Olet. All those in favor, Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have an adoption of the Millcreek Township General Authority logo. This is a very well-done logo. I don't know if we have a copy of it on, Cheryl has it right there for our residents to look at.
Do we have a color for the camera, maybe? Oh, okay.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Can we
That's it, nicely done.
I want to make sure the audience at home can see it.
It's the pure lighthouse with waves and Millcreek Township's General Authority. Nicely done.
Ms.
Do you have a
Chairman?
motion?
Ms. Chairwoman, sorry. May I speak?
Absolutely.
I would
Please,
just
Mrs.
like to thank Sam Peterson for the work that he did. He is our communications coordinator, and I just want to thank him for all of the work he did to take what we created last year and kind of use it, manipulate it, and make it into the authority. I think that you did a very seamless job there, so thank you, and I'm so happy we were able to keep that in-house. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Clear. I will echo that. Thank you very much. We'll take a motion to approve this.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you very much.
I'll second this.
Thank you, Mr. Wardy. All those in favor, Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And next, we want to move on to the amendment to site assessment agreement with Millcreek Township, and I'll ask Ms. Celeste Shaw to give us an update.
Sure, this is an amendment to an access agreement that the authority had previously executed with the township, which would give the township access to the Bel Air to conduct, for the police department and other agencies within the township, to conduct training exercises while the building is still there. This amendment is to extend that access to the Manor Motel, the Sandbar, and Joe Roots, as well as to extend the term until December 31 of 2024. This was approved by the Board of Supervisors this morning.
We have a motion to approve this amendment to site assessment.
Make a motion to approve?
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor, Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have the the site access agreement with Millcreek Township for Millcreek Township Volunteer Fire Departments. Solicitor Shaw?
Yes, this is an agreement similar to the one between the authority and the township, but it would be between the authority and the Millcreek Township Volunteer Fire Departments. It would be for a similar purpose, for them to be able to conduct training exercises at the various buildings along 8th Street, to include the Bel Air, the Manor Motel, Joe Roots, and the Sandbar. Once, if the board would approve this, we would then extend this out to each of the volunteer departments for them to execute. If only one of them does, it's still in effect for that one, but hopefully, if all of them have training exercises they would like to conduct, they'd all be able to do so under the terms of this agreement.
Very good, thank you. May I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wardy. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Olet. All those in favor, Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Thank you. Solicitor Shaw, were there any other updates at all that you had at this time from Mr. Waldinger?
Yeah, if we could, under, I guess, communications, the first, I guess, if there are any treasurer communications.
It was a pretty light month financially. We only wrote about 3 checks for some electrical service and to Old Air Real Estate Services.
Okay, thank you. Next, Executive Director, Communications, Solicitor Shaw.
Yes, unfortunately, Mr. Waldinger could not attend the meeting this afternoon, but he did provide me with an executive director report that I will read off to you to give you an update and status. Obviously, he apologized for not being able to attend the meeting, and he would like to welcome Mr. Wardy to the authority board, and he looks forward to working with you. So he has several things to report on. First, the contract, relating to the contract for the demolition phase 1. Empire, our contractor, has indicated they would begin mid-March to complete the contract by the May 15th deadline. They have submitted most of the required permits and documents necessary to issue the notice to proceed. There are only a couple of outstanding issues to remain, so we're on schedule to proceed with that here shortly. In addition, the police department will be conducting some training for the SWAT and bomb units at the Manor Motel and Sandbar prior to their demolition. They're going to be practicing breaching doors and walls. Similarly, the Millcreek Fire Department and the Millcreek Volunteer Fire Departments will be using the Bel Air for some of their planned training activities. Obviously, the uniqueness of the buildings and to have access to kind of live buildings like that is a unique opportunity for our emergency response agency. So it's great that the board has made those available for that kind of training. It's been a great benefit to their readiness to serve and to safely perform their duties. We've also extended this opportunity to the Erie Police Department and the Pennsylvania State Police, but they've not responded at this point. But that certainly it might be a possibility in the future. Next, the Erie County Land Bank will be holding a demonstration at the Bel Air next week for local municipal code enforcement and other interested officials. This will be to demonstrate a reusable product to secure vacant properties from a company called DAWGS, D-A-W-G-S, Door and Window Guard Systems. I think they're out of Cleveland, and essentially they use reusable metal kind of plates to secure buildings and windows and so forth in buildings that need to be addressed in that fashion. And lastly, Matt is working with Altair Consulting on a scope of work for a historic and architectural review of the Grasshopper Building so that we can have a firm in place to maybe perform that work in the spring. That was the sum and substance of his report.
Thank you very much for the update, Solicitor Shaw. And do you have a communication report?
No communications on my end, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I would ask if there is any citizens to be heard, and if so, please come forward and state your name and your address.
Dennis McAndrew. I'm going to ask for the record because I'm assuming other people have seen the news about how Harbor Kirk has gotten the Kmart Plaza tore down at no cost to them. And I know that you guys are focused on the 8th Street, but I know in the prior meeting I had asked, has anyone asked or spoken to anyone in Harbor Creek and how they got it done? Is Millcreek trying to do anything with our Kmart Plaza? And how is that proceeding? I think, the public would like to know.
I can give a little bit of information on that. So Harbor Creek Township had contacted the building owner regarding the building, and they are not receiving a lease payment on that building. The owner of that building was not receiving a lease payment, but they were paying taxes with the building on it, okay? So in order to lower their taxes, they decided to demolish it themselves. There is still a lease payment that is being made by Kmart, even though that in their trust, it's still being made to the owner of that of the Kmart property that is on West 26th Street. So, they are already receiving rent, basically lease.
So they have no incentive.
They have no incentive to do that. Whereas in Harbor Creek, they did have that incentive.
I mean, they both were Kmart, so eventually the lease is
There
going
was
to run out.
there was a 100-year lease on that.
And how many
Yes.
are left? 99 years?
Too many. But Passport Realty is who is the
Listing agent?
listing agent of that property, and I have reached out to them to see if we could, do something to get some movement, and we are very willing to, do whatever we need to, help that along. We did change the zoning in 2022. Passport Realty actually, did talk to us about some changes that they wanted to see made, which we did do, thinking that it would help make that property a little bit more desirable to be renovated or purchased. And those haven't come to fruition yet, but I'm sure that Passport Realty is looking to do something with that property.
Okay. I mean, just, you see on the news a little
I know,
soundbite and everyone's
it's kind of
like,
a
"Well,
different
what
situation, unfortunately. It's just a little
about-" And
different
it's
the
not
way.
And not everyone knows.
It's apples and oranges, but it is, you're right, it would be great, if we could make a phone call, but we have reached out, like I said, and they're still paying the lease, so there was no incentive for but it is the same owner,
So they have no incentive currently to.
yes. So now Harbor Creek Township will actually be getting less in tax revenue because it's down.
Right, but hopefully they'll be able to do something.
I hope so for them, yes.
And
I
that's-
want nothing more than
and-
for Harbor Creek to,
In the meantime, though, the township stuck with Kmart Plaza sitting the way
Oh.
it is.
yes.
I mean, not to, but is the building up to code? I mean, is there other ways that you can put pressure on them to try and, because you go by it and it's starting to look rattier and rattier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Any other citizens to be heard? Okay. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. All those in favor, Mrs. Clear?
aye,
Mr.
or yes.
Wardy,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Absolutely.